Rich, Tennessee Homestead. How in the heck are you today? Hey, what I want to do is start getting more information out there about things I've learned over the years. Okay. Try to save my politics for barn chats. Today what I want to talk to you about is supply. How to save money on them. How to pick up things that you need. You'll hear me referring to a lot of it as prepping or preppos, but it applies equally as well. Anybody that has a home, if you have a small homestead, farm, things of this nature, how to save some money on the thing. So that's where I'm going to be headed to with this. So let's get on about this. Ways for you to save money. One of the things is buying tools and things you need get pretty expensive. It really can. Well, this is where places like Goodwill and thrift stores really come in handy, folks. Here's a case in point. I bought this thing. It was a brand new little thermos. It was put out by, given out to some union workers that specialized in insulation and so forth. This thing was brand new, still had the paper on the inside of it. It was $2, and I found something similar to this in I believe it was at Walmart, and they wanted like darn near $20 for it. This thing, I put some water and some ice in it when I was up here working in the office one day. Forgot about it, left it, came back about 3 days later, 3 days later, and thought, well, the water will probably be semi-warm, but I was thirsty, so I got a drink of it, and about choked on a little ice cube that came through the top. It still had ice in it. Water was still cold. Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good little thermos. Yeah, especially for the money I spent on it. So these thrift stores, and that's where I got it at, was out of the thrift store. You'll find little bargains down there, little deals, okay? Clothing, winter coats, things of this nature you can do okay with. Basically, I mean, all of us need to save money on equipment and supplies, period. Okay, if we can save a buck or two or more, it really helps up. I think it was the British that had the saying, if you worry about the pennies, the pounds will take care of themselves. That's pretty true. Okay? Watch the little stuff. Debit cards and so forth are fine and dandy, but I prefer cash because you kind of notice it coming out of your wallet. But yeah, everything that you can do to save yourself money puts you farther along, makes you a little bit more prepared, and can help you out. If you're talking about the Goodwill stores, they can be an absolute goldmine for your prepping supplies or for your homestead supplies, things of this nature. They carry a major range of items. They really do. And it's always worth taking a look at. I mean, they're not very big stores to start with. Some are. I've been in the Goodwill in Las Vegas, and it's a really good-sized store. But you'll be amazed at the kind of things that you'll find stuffed in the corners of them. So I've got made a list of about 13 things, and I'll run down them with you and see what you think. Most farmers, preppers, homesteaders, things of this nature, you have tools. You need them every day. Question, do you have spares? Have you ever broke a hammer? Yeah. Especially wooden handled ones. And while you're waiting instead of stopping what you're doing and going down, if you've stopped at a thrift store, a Goodwill store, and picked up a $1.50 hammer, you can continue to finish your work, and next time you get into town, worry about that handle for that hammer. You can always use tools. Have you ever rounded out the end of a Phillips screwdriver on a tough screw? We all have. It's always good to have spares. You can buy good tools that hold up really well, and then you can hit the places like the thrift stores and Goodwill stores, things of that nature, and pick up some, a lot of times they're very high quality. I've picked up a lot of Craftsman tools and things of that nature at the thrift store. So take a few minutes and look hard at it. A lot of times it's a lot of good tools, and you can, I was always told that, man, don't you ever think you can have enough tools? Nah, not ever. Okay, most guys are like that. Good place to pick up some extra tools. Another thing, if you're going to do any outdoor cooking, over open fires, things of that nature, I prefer to cook with it anyway. Cast iron cookware. A lot of times you can find some in there. Yeah, you may have to clean it up a little bit. You may have to re-season it and things of this nature. But compared to what new costs, you can save yourself a small fortune on your cast iron cookware. The stuff holds up. Very good if it ever gets tough out there to have cast iron cookware. Okay, because this other stuff just doesn't hold up for a hoot. Number three, here we go, clothing. When you get into, after Christmas is a good time because people want to clean out their closets for the new stuff that they got. People unload unwanted gifts. It happens. But if you take a look at in spring, when the weather starts to warm up, you're going to start seeing some real deals on winter clothing. All right, so you're kind of not in the same season, but it's a good way to pick up some winter clothing for next year. Just remember, don't do like I do and spend too much time at the, desserts and so forth where you don't fit into them when time comes. So, good way to go. I have went into Goodwills and found blue jeans and things of this nature. Still has the tags on them. Never were worn. Never were worn. And you can pick them up for, peanuts. Now, number five here is kind of more of a prepper item, but backpacks, and you can pick them up down at the Goodwills and the thrift stores. You'll run across them. You got to check these things. They're not always there, but next week when you're back in there, I have found some good hiking packs at thrift stores. Snatch them up because those things aren't cheap. Or even just pick up some larger school backpacks for your kids to carry some items in. It's a very good way to save yourself a bunch of money on your bug out bags. The biggest kicker is that a lot of this stuff is going to save you more than 50% off a lot of times. If you're running for the hills to get away from whatever, you're not going to be worried about what that backpack looks like. As long as it's solid, put together, and you can carry stuff in it. It's not going to matter if it's pink. Okay. Here's another one. Candles. You can go in there and you can find broken candles. You can find partially burned decorative candles, things of this nature. You can repurpose these. A lot of them you can just use around your campsite, small cabin, something like that, just as they come from the thrift store. But if you really want to get fancy, you can repurpose them, melt them down, build yourself some new candles out of it with some mason jar. Very simple to do and really inexpensive if you've already got the existing candles to work from. Number 7 for my favorites. Wool blankets. They're great. They're not overly bulky. They keep you good and warm. They've fallen out of favor with most people because the wool's a little itchy. But, preppers and people like that love them. Military people really love them. We know how to keep you warm and they're fire resistant and things of that nature. They even provide decent insulation. Goodwill is a good spot to find these kind of classic survival items. You also get into the hiking and the hunting gear and things of this nature, especially after deer season. You can pick up a lot of this stuff too, because Daddy went out and spent a whole bunch of money and never bagged a deer, and the wife standing there with hands on hips, kind of steaming out around the collar at all the money he spent. And he'll go away on a trip and come back and find out that she dropped all that Goodwill. Pick it up for a bargain, especially after the hunting season's over. And more often, it's only been used once. Okay. So, good way to go. It's a bargain for you either way. Canning jars. You will find those in abundance at the thrift stores and at Goodwill. The tops, not always, but yeah, you can find. And I wouldn't trust used ones if they're not brand new, still in the box. Jar, I wouldn't fool with that. Throw those used ones away, folks. But good way to pick up some extra canning supplies and things of that nature. This one's more for the preppers, but people can use it quite a bit. Games, Monopoly, board games, things of this nature. If you've got kids, they'll moan and groan for a while, but once they've gotten into the game a little bit, they'll have fun with it. And it entertains, and it's a good family thing to do together. So pick up games, and especially if you're a prepper preparing for for it all hitting the fan, EMPs, whatever, computers and the cell phones aren't going to work anyway. So you might as well have some game boards and stuff of this nature to help keep the kids entertained and yourself too. Another way for entertainment, books. Large selection of old books in these places, and some new books. A lot of times people will read it and let their kids read it, and next thing you know, it ends up down at the Goodwill or the thrift store. So, good way to pick up information. A lot of times you find people that went out, and got the bug and bought a bunch of prepping books and cookbooks and all sorts of stuff. I've found a lot of good cookbooks from back in the, dated back in the 40s and 50s and stuff, and it's like, I didn't know that. Did you cook that like that? So there's a lot of things like that as far as cookbooks, books, Ran across some old magazines that I thought was pretty cool. Picked those up for, I think they were selling them for like 10 cents a piece. So good way to get things that you can hang on to, and I found some very good articles, things of this nature in them. So always check that too. You can really have a lot of fun in one of these places. You truly can. The next couple items, they're the elite stuff. Buckets. Plastic buckets that they got lids over lid. Use them for storage of stuff. You can use them for out foraging in the woods, throwing mushrooms or whatever you're foraging for in them. They make real handy-dandy toilets sometimes. Things of this nature. Carrying water, you name it. So you can't have enough plastic buckets, and especially the 5-gallon ones. You can stack those things up and, have a couple of small stacks and have 10 or 15 of them in there. And you can get them for next to nothing. I have actually had thrift stores say, you can have all you want. We don't really have any use for them. So it's like, cool, I'll load them all up and head out with them. Pass them out to friends. They always come in handy. The last item I got here for you, good old number 13, the unlucky one. You probably are not going to walk in there and find bullion, gold, and silver and things of this nature. But what you will find is a bunch of very old jewelry that you can pick up, if it's like a broken bracelet or a necklace and so forth. Yeah, you may have to kiss a lot of frogs, but you can sometimes shoot them a price. I'll give you $20 for the whole bunch of it. And go walking out there with one of your new 5-gallon buckets loaded up with this stuff. And a lot of it will be costume jewelry. But if you can find a gold necklace in there, some silver rings, things of this nature, which I have found. Test them, see if they're real gold or real silver. Heck of a barter item, folks. That's pretty much where that's at, because the dollars go in the heck in a handbasket. Having gold and silver around are kind of important. I encourage you, if you can afford it and so forth, you might want to keep a little gold and silver as part of your collection of things to have, because when it gets really tough. Now, don't go out and buy a big brick if you got all that kind of money. They're yuckity muck. Stick to smaller quantities, because if you are going to be buying a cow, you don't want to have a 100-gram bar of gold and that's all you got, because you're going to overpay for the cow, because you're not going to want to saw that in half, okay? And he's not going to want you to saw it in half. So carry different sizes and weights and so forth. That way you can price it out and use it for actual money. Don't fool yourself. When you start looking at all the things that you can get at a thrift store, and it's not like you got to do this all at once. Go out, pick through the stores. Usually they're in small shopping centers that you're going to visit anyway. Every time you go in there to pick up a loaf of bread or whatever at the convenience store, walk over to the thrift store, walk over to the Goodwill, take a look. And you may only find one item in there that you think, that might be something to hang on to. Pick it up, okay? Don't be shy. Like I said, this thing here. Now, that is the best water thermos I've ever had. Easy to drink out of, a little top just unscrews off the top and tip it up. And like I said, if I bought it at a store, it'd cost me, close to $20. So I figure I saved $18 just walking over, and it was just sitting on a little table there by itself. There it was, $2. Brand new, never been opened. Yeah, and you find a lot of that. Take the advice of an old man. Been doing this for a lot of years. Even when I lived in Vegas and had money, too much money, wish I could claw most of that back, but I can't. I would still stop by the Goodwill store, because especially in Las Vegas, if you're in the Las Vegas area, hit the Goodwill stores in Las Vegas. You'll find people will buy a pair of clothes brand new, and they didn't just fit right. Tags are still on them. Things of this nature, brand new shirts. And it's crazy what people will take to Goodwill to just, because they don't want to have to fool going, they lost their receipt, or they didn't want to have fool who's taking it back to the stores. To throw into with the Goodwills and so forth, you see a farm auction, stop by, because a lot of times you can pick up tools and implements and so forth at a big discount, huge discount, because they're just trying to get it cleaned out. Use your heads and do what you can do. Real estate markets, I want to tack this onto the end, are getting a little rough. It's going to take a little creative financing here. It won't be too much longer. And I plan to do a video on that, of how to get yourself into a piece of land and go from there. A lot of these houses I've been watching, especially in Tennessee, have been sitting on the market for 6 and 8 months. No nibbles. Okay. Usually they got some fixing up to do, but they're not moving them. Of course, I haven't seen some of them. Is because they haven't dropped the price. A lot of fork. Number 7 for my favorites. Wool blankets. Closures are starting to pop up. Okay. Don't be afraid of foreclosures, but negotiate hard on them, because the bank will tell you, "Oh, I want this for it." Well, I'm not going to give you that for it. How about we get an appraisal and see what the place is really worth? And then get yourself a good appraiser that is a very conservative appraiser and send them out there. A lot of times you can save you a fortune. Anyway, if you found something useful or you have discovered ways to save some money, drop a comment down there for me. Let me know. Maybe make another video of it and give you the credit for it. How's that? But, let me know what you think. I'm really going to start doing more of how to do things, show you some of the old ways of doing stuff, and that's going to be the bulk of what this channel is all about. It really is. Now, save the political stuff. I got to always do a barn chat. Most people that have a heart attack not getting the barn chats. And I got a good one coming at you. Good luck. Happy hunting at the thrift stores. You can get a lot for a little, folks. Get a lot for a little. And saving money is going to be the way of the future. We seem to have a pretty bad financial situation coming at us. Prepare for it. Start preparing for it right now. Okay? Save every dime you can save, because later on, you're going to need those dimes. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a great week. Talk to you soon.